At least you weren't the first kill. Remember when they used to always kill off the black guy first? That
Right,
was like in every 90s movie.
right. I was still the black guy that got killed first.
Did
I
you?
was still the black.
Oh, wait a minute. Technically, yes, you were.
Yes, yeah, yeah. Yeah, hey, we just
Damn,
some
I thought
tradition.
we had
It's okay.
made progress.
I'm in Brooklyn. I've been in Brooklyn my whole life.
Hmm.
So it's like I'm almost tired of New York City, and I'm really
Really?
looking for. I mean, you
It's a
get
lot
older
going
and you
on
get
there.
over it. It's always a lot going on in New York, but you get over it, and then just the space and the quality of life, it takes a toll on you. So yeah, just considering other places. So I'm always asking, so where you from? And like, okay,
Yeah,
get to that spot.
yeah. I've lived in Arizona my whole life. I New York. I actually have a lot of friends that are from New York. It's really strange. How that's come about. We have a decent amount of people that live here that are from New York here in Phoenix. And I just remember dreaming of one day, moving to New York when I was younger because I wanted to get into entertainment. I wanted to model and
Yeah.
do the whole thing, and it just didn't quite make it. Didn't quite make it, but you know, um, I don't know. As I got older, it always boggled my mind how anybody survives there, whether it's New York or LA. I'm like I don't quite understand what kind of sorcery you got to be into to survive in a place like that. Whether primarily just the cost of living, but I guess it's just the hustle and
Yeah. So imagine
yeah.
growing up here and like being a like I went to high school in Manhattan, so I'm in Brooklyn, and Manhattan is it's its own island in its own world,
Uh-huh.
especially when you're like 12 and 13. So
Mhm.
traveling on the subway to, 3, 4 miles away in Manhattan, and that was an adventure in itself, for 4 years, and just figuring out like, oh, I get to ride the train and do like crazy stuff as a teenager. So I always think back to that and like, wow, I actually live here. I'm from here. I live here, and a lot of people like I can't wait to get to New York, or just I will
Mhm.
want to get to New York and live in New York. So every time I cross the bridge, I see the skyline, and I'm like, wow, I'm from New York. This is amazing.
Yeah.
And
I
then a
mean, that's
pizza rat
amazing.
out of nowhere, and kind
Mhm.
of throws all that out the window. A pizza rat, or something crazy on the subway. But yeah, I give thanks. I give thanks.
Absolutely. What was it? So, yeah, explain that a little bit more. I mean, what has it been like for you growing up and living in New York your whole life? And um, like, what's that world like? Because I'm from Arizona and I'm going to tell you, I've had the opportunity to travel a little bit, not a lot. And just, I don't know, just going to like Georgia or North Carolina, it's a different world over there in comparison to where I'm from. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't get to travel much until I was like maybe in my teenage years and early 20s, but just being from Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, and Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn back in, I mean, I'm an 80s baby, so I grew up in the 90s, but
mhm.
just around that time it was just like kind of survival of the fittest, it's
Yep.
like, watch your back, and hey, don't, of course it's no, don't talk to strangers, but just always just watch yourself, watch yourself, watch yourself. And you kind of just learn to, well, hang out with the folks in your on your block, the 4 block radius, and you can't go too far. So it's like I mentioned, traveling to Manhattan at 12 and 13 was this sense of independence that you're like, wow, I can really do this, and then you get to meet so many different people.
Hmm.
Back in, again, the 80s and 90s, Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, it was just folks that look like us, right? So like
Yeah.
now it's gentrified to the what 10th power. So it's like, that corner used to be a bodega. Now it's a
Starbucks.
coffee, a Starbucks coffee spot. Then there's a yoga. There's a yoga over here. Then there's a record shop, and it's like, oh, it's so trippy. It's so
The
trippy.
moment you see the Starbucks and the yoga shop, you know it's over.
It's a wrap. It's a wrap. So
Yeah.
it's bittersweet. It's
Yeah.
bittersweet, but it's literally the jungle. It's literally the jungle. But as a kid growing up, you find so much beauty in it. So much beauty in it. And then I see my nephew and my niece, and they're in the house on their tablet or they don't want to go out. And it's like, man, go outside and play. Go
Yeah,
outside
it's
and
a
play.
different world now. I was just tell I have 4 kids, ages ranging from 2 years old up to my eldest son just turned 18.
Wow. Uh-huh.
Yeah. And I was just telling my 16-year-old, like, you need to go outside. Like when I was growing up, don't get me wrong, we had some social media, but I'm an 80s baby too. So it wasn't the same. Like you had Black Planet and MySpace, but you got on there to do your coding and create this page and feel good about yourself. But then that's it, you're outside.
Yep. Outside. Couldn't wait to get outside. Matter of fact, you couldn't, you got coming back inside was a punishment.
Yeah,
And
you
it's like,
can't
hey,
go
hey,
back.
yep, yep, can't go outside. You better stay in this house so you can let my good air out. It's like,
Like
oh,
my goodness.
man. It's like,
Yeah.
I got to go to the bathroom, but I don't want to go inside because grandma going to make me
Right.
stay. So I'm
You
going to
get
just
you get
go
thirsty.
figure
That's
it out.
when we drank out the water hose. If you
Mm-hmm.
got thirsty.
Oh, the water hose. Yeah, we used to, if there was a fire hydrant going, we'll probably just, go over there real quick and drink some water and then kind of get back to business. So I'm like, man, these kids got it good. They get whatever they want, but
Yeah.
they just stay in the house. So,
Yeah.
yeah, growing up in Brooklyn, especially, it was beautiful, man. It was beautiful. I kind of have an interesting kind of upbringing. I lost my folks very when I was a teenager, so I pretty much have been surrounded by just a loving community and tribe. So, being raised by my folks until about 15, 16, and then had my godparents step in and then my aunt and uncle step in and kind of raise me from, 16 through shoot, they're still raising me, you know. But like such a wonderful, loving tribe of family and community of friends and like so it makes it all, beautiful and wonderful in a sense. So I find the beauty in that part of the journey.
That's
But yeah, man, I'm
lovely.
really, really thankful. Really thankful.
I'm really glad to hear that, especially someone coming from our community. It's one of those things where if you do have somebody step in to take care of you when you
Yeah.
lose, your folks, or like myself, my situation was my mom got caught up with the drugs, and so my grandmother stepped in and took care of me. And then I had my aunts stepped in and took my brothers. And so, we were in a way split apart, but still kept together. I didn't end up in the system, like a lot of people do. They end up in the system and then it's oftentimes it turns out for the worse. So that's, you're
Right.
really blessed and to also still have your parents,
Yeah.
or well, your folks, your tribe, those
Yep.
that raised you, your support system. It's really good to still have that,
Yeah.
even into your adult years.
Yeah.
So you're very blessed.
Yeah. Thank you. You are too. You are
Thank
too.
you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, how did you get into acting? Tell me the story. What I took a look at your IMDb. I did a little bit of research.
Oh,
So
man,
I
people
see,
research me. I feel so.
yes,
You
I see. I was like, oh, wait a minute. He doesn't just have acting credits. He got producer credits. He's
know,
doing
yeah.
everything.
Appreciate
So
that.
how did you get into that?
You grow up and you watch TV and you just kind of think it's magic, especially coming from where we come from, and you don't know how these people are in the box and they're making your life change. And it's like I want to do that. I just don't know how I can do that. But my mom, my dad, my aunts, uncle, my aunt, uncle, godparents, they've always kind of instilled in me like, yo, you have something. Like, why don't you nurture it and cultivate it and figure out what it is that you want to do. And kind of growing up, I'm always mimicking and watching things and making my mom laugh. And she's like, "Boy, you're gonna be on TV one day." And I don't really know what that means. But it wasn't until like maybe my early 20s after graduating college. I used to be a dancer because in Brooklyn they have this thing called Flex in Brooklyn, where there were like teams all over Brooklyn, and we would like compete in showcases and stuff like that.
Wow.
So in our performances, we would have like kind of like theatrical pieces, whether it was acting out Thriller from Michael Jackson and kind of go back into our dance routine. Like we would make it such an epic kind of performance. And that kind of, you know, performing in that space, you don't realize you're honing your theatrical abilities, your performance, right? So it was around then when I'm like, man, I graduated from college. Now I'm into my office management job, and I'm like, man, what am I really doing with my life?
Right.
What am I really doing with my life? And there have been sprinkles of, you know, I need to discover what that was, whether it was a recital where I played, like Kurt Franklin from God's Property, and I'm kind of doing all of these wonderful, creative, artistic things, but I just didn't know how to, put it into something that's fruitful and fulfilling.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until I was like in my early 20s, I'm like, look, if I don't pursue this, I don't want to grow up, regretting it and like, man, I wish I would have did this when I was younger. And again, it
Right.
goes back to my community. Buddy of mine, his name is Gordon. He was in the dance group with me, and he sent me an audition for something. And I would just think of every excuse not to do it. Hey, man, I got work or I got this. I can't do it. He's like, man, I see it in you, bro. If you really want it, you'll get it. If you really
Hmm.
want this, you'll do it. You'll find a way. And that always stuck with me. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna find a way to do this audition. And I found a way to do the audition. I got the part. The part was in a short film, and it kind of screened all over the country in these festivals. And I'm like, oh man, I've
Yeah.
arrived. Like I'm really doing this is crazy. And I'm in my like,
Yeah.
and then after that was done, that's when the real work started because I wasn't getting any work. I had to really hone my craft and
Yeah.
figure out the business and create my own opportunities and build my now acting community. And then that's when the journey really kicked off. And that's when now I'm here talking about Terrifier 3, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Terrifier 3. Man, that movie is something.
yeah, yeah.
How did you come across Terrifier? Were you a Terrifier fan before you
No, no,
No?
no. I hadn't. Look, I hope the fan base don't, they don't, chastise me or hate me, but I didn't know anything about Terrifier. I
Okay.
didn't know anything about Terrifier. And I got the audition from my manager. She sent it to me. And then it said Terrifier 3. And I'm like, oh, okay, whatever this is, let me look it up. And I saw that there was some kind of buzz around it.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, this looks okay. Okay. And then I do the tape, and again, there's this clown in it, and I'm like, all right, oh, what is this again? So yeah, I get it. I do the tape, and then I forget about it. And then like
Oh.
2, 3 weeks later, my manager hits me up and says, "Yeah, they're interested in booking you for that. What is it, the Terrifier thing?" And I'm like, "What is like?" I had to go back because once you do auditions, you kind of like bury
Yeah.
it because you don't want to
You don't
just
want to
feel
yeah.
upset and that nobody calls you. And it goes
Yeah.
into this abyss of like self tapes and auditions.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they booked me, and then it was off to the races. I'm like,
Awesome.
what is this? That didn't hit me until later. Like, what the hell is this? But I knew it was a buzz. But after I shot it, and it was like maybe 2, 3 months before it released, it was like, this is something different from anything that I've done, and it been a,
Yeah.
and I feel it. And
Yes. This
we're months
is
later, number one in the country. It's like, what?
right. How does that feel?
It's surreal. It's really surreal. You work for something, you just want to do good work, and you just hope things like this happen. You just pray that you're lucky and things happen. I feel immensely lucky. Like you know what I'm saying? Like I worked really hard for just the opportunity and to get
Yeah.
something like this and feeling the love from my friends, my family, and the horror community. I'm just so incredibly blessed and lucky and grateful.
Yeah.
But it's still surreal. It's like what is happening?
Just
You know?
blowing up. You guys like let's see. You cast a huge shadow over the new Joker movie. That's
Yes.
a big deal.
Yes, I still want to check it out because I was a big fan of the first one, and I'm a big fan of Joaquin Phoenix's. Just he's a beast. I really
Yeah.
enjoy watching him work. So to hear the reviews, it was a bit disappointing, but I still want to watch it for myself. I hope to catch it soon.
Yeah.
But it's just kismet the way like it happened.
Yeah.
Just one clown, like the big budget clown gets, David and Goliath story. It's
Yeah.
incredible. It's
It
incredible.
really is.
Yeah.
I think the reason we are seeing this blow up the way that it has is because uh, Damien Leone, he stayed true to his vision,
Yes.
and he's had a certain vision and tone and style that he's maintained even as his budgets grew. So obviously the quality improved, but his vision, it just seemed like the vision was more clear, more a bit more polished, and so what we fell in love with in watching Art the Clown way back then, we've been able to watch it, just kind of grow and blossom.
Yeah.
And I myself, I'll be quite honest. I remember long ago seeing Art the Clown, like, I don't know if it was Netflix. It was streaming somewhere, and I would always skip it because just the look of it, although I'm a horror fan, I was in a different place
Yeah.
in life,
Yeah.
I was like, that looks like some 90s grunge,
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
snuff film type.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't think I'm
Yeah.
in a place to watch it. So
Right.
I didn't watch any Terrifier movie until, or any Terrifier clip until like last year. So when did you watch them?
Yeah.
Did you start watching them to kind of get an idea of what three was gonna be like? You didn't walk into three
No,
blind now.
I
No?
walked into three blind. I didn't want to watch anything. I didn't want to watch anything because once I got the role, and then I happened to, I don't, I check in with my godmother, but I don't check in with her on everything. And
Hmm.
she kind of hates me for it, but I just don't want to like, hey, I got this, I got this. So, when something like special comes up, I'm like, hey, but she always checks in to see what I got going on. And then when
Yeah.
she did, I was like, yeah, I'm in this thing called Terrifier. She was like, wait, what? You're in Terrifier? I'm like, yeah, you know about it? She's like, oh, I love the first one and the second. Then she started going into the type of kills that are. I said,
Your
who are
godmother is
you?
in this movie.
Yeah, I'm like, who are you? Who are you?
I think this
Where's
is
my
like our
godmother?
coming out. This is our coming out story because people are like, "You're into what, Layla? You're into
Uh,
what?"
right, right, right. And she was so passionate about just the art,
Yeah.
no pun intended, of their kills and
Yes.
and how sadistic Art the Clown is, and she just couldn't wait. And she's like, "Hey, baby, I got to catch up. I'm watching one and two this weekend. Can't wait to catch you in the third one." And I'm just like, "Wow, this is what's happening right now," you know and I got that from a few of my people. Like Damien, he used me in a trailer. I didn't expect to be in the trailer. I didn't know what to expect. And then when it popped up in like maybe July, and I'm like, and people are hitting me up because I haven't seen it yet. And I'm like, well, how did you know I'm in Terrifier? They're like, dude, they just dropped it. You're in the trailer. And I'm like, wait, what? And then I'm like, they used me. And I was just like, oh my God. I just was so shocked. And, I'll tell you like how, my like how the shooting went. But
Yeah.
I didn't watch it at all. I just wanted to be surprised and kind of come into it blind, I guess. And boy, did I. Boy, did I. Um, so I don't know if that's a bad thing, but I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
Yeah. How
Yeah.
did you feel? This is a spoiler interview. I already did my spoiler breakdown. So,
Uh,
how did you feel when you read? Did you Art was going to use your head to hold on his body and get on the butt? Did you know that that was going to happen?
So I knew something like that would happen. So
Okay.
after I booked it, of course I have a beard now, but they asked me to shave and shave down a little bit because they want me to do some special effects.
Hmm.
So I'm like, yeah, no problem. So I shaved. I'm like, can I at least keep it in a goatee? And they were like, yeah, sure. So They sent me to, it's fascinating. It's such a dream come true. I go to 30 Rock in New York where they
Mhm.
shoot SNL,
Okay.
and that's where they're doing the special effects for Terrifier.
That's
So
cool.
we're in 30 Rock and we're doing that, and he's scanning my face, and I'm like, what's happening? They got me in a stocking cap and everything, and I'm like, all right, so I understand like something's gonna go down, but I'm not sure. And then I shoot about maybe a week and a half later, and I meet David Howard Thornton, who is the sweetest man. He was just like really kind and really sweet, and he was like, "Oh yeah, they're gonna call you for conventions and stuff." I'm like, "Wait, what? Why? What's going on?" But I get there and I meet Damien for the first time, and he was just so excited to have me there, and he was like, I guess he thought I knew what was happening. So I was going, we did the scene, we did some prep, and then he was like, "Oh, you don't know what's happening." I'm like, "Nah, D, what's going on?" And then he goes in to tell me, like, "Yeah, Art is gonna, take your face and he's gonna wear it on a train, da da da." I'm like, "Excuse me?" And that's when he showed me like the face,
The
and I was
head.
just like, I was
How
like,
did you feel seeing your head?
yeah, it was an out of body experience. Like it looked exactly like me. Maybe I needed some sleep, and the face was kind of droopy, but
Yeah.
it was like, holy hell, like this. What is this? Again, I didn't know what I was really signing up for because when
Yeah.
we shot it, I didn't do so much research, but I knew it was special. I knew it was
Mhm.
special. I knew it was special. And I did this, I had my sides and I had my scene, but I didn't know anything else that was going on in the movie. So I'm
Wow.
glad it happened that way. So when I'm at the premiere and I'm watching it with everyone and everybody's going crazy, I'm
How
covering
did
my
you feel
eyes.
watching it? You wait a minute. Wait a minute. You started with Terrifier 3. That's the first Terrifier movie you've seen, the one that you're in.
Yes, yes, yeah, 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 yeah. Is that a bad thing? That's not a bad thing, right?
I
Or I kind of
mean,
jump right
no.
into it, right?
I mean, that's intense. That's
Okay,
really intense. I
okay,
so when Terrifier 2 came out, um I remember there was a lot of crazy buzz about the bedroom scene. And
yep,
I didn't watch the bedroom scene until maybe 6 months after it's 6 months after Terrify had came out.
yep.
I was like, I gotta see what were they talking about? What was all this buzz? And so I'm watching this, and I don't know if this makes I was laughing. I was just like, what?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was a lot. So I was like, what's up with this clown? Why is he tripping like this? Like, what's going on? And so um I went I found the first Terrifier, and I watched it. Some of it. I watched it with my son. My son
Yeah, your eldest?
no, my
Oh,
second eldest.
oh,
So
okay.
he was like, what was he? Maybe 15 at the time.
Okay. Okay.
And so we're sitting here, we're watching this movie, and he's like, "What, Ma? What is this?" And I was like, "There's a second one." He's like, "Let's watch it." And so,
Wow.
yeah, he and I kind of took that journey together. He never finished the second one. He didn't finish the second one until last Thursday.
Yeah.
We watched.
Okay.
We finished the first one, watched the second one all the way through because I was like, "We're gonna go see Terrifier 3 tonight, and we need to understand what's going on." That
Right.
way it's not just about blood and guts. We need to understand the story that's unfolding and
Wow.
be a little bit desensitized because I know it's going to be worse. The kills are going to
Yo,
be
that's
worse.
crazy. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I just figure I just dive right in. I figure I would just dive right in, and that's what I got. Like I got that from my godmother. I got that from some of my closest friends, and some of them picked it up over the pandemic, and they were
Yeah.
saying like it's scary, but I think the kills make it much of a lighthearted kind of humorous experience because you're just waiting to see how he's going to like devour these people, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? So I'm like, no, I'm going to stick to my guns. I don't want to watch any of the first or the second one, and
Yeah.
I'll check it out at the premiere. And to see my scene comes in pretty early. Um, but I was just like, holy
At least
cow.
you weren't the first kill. Remember when they used to always kill off the black guy first? That
Right,
was like in every 90s movie.
right. I was still the black guy that got killed first. I was still the
No,
black guy. I
did you?
was still the black.
Oh, wait a minute. Technically, yes, you were.
Yes, yeah, yeah. Hey,
Damn,
some
I thought
tradition.
we had
It's okay.
made progress.
Hey, it's okay. At least they didn't put me at the very beginning. I like
Right,
they shot it. They shot like whatever was supposed to be in the middle. They cut
right.
that first, and then it's like, bring in a black guy. Let's kill him.
We still gonna kill him
We
first, but
still
they
kill
ain't
him.
gonna see it first.
Yeah, yeah. But it was still epic, and it was done. It was done with love. I
Yeah.
took that as a badge of honor, and how they did it. It wasn't as gruesome as my castmates, but it was still like, yeah, it was special. I'm like, he's holding my head. What?
That was epic. I was concerned about this movie because of the children,
Yeah,
right? I can watch almost anything, but I'm like, wait a minute, there's kids. We're offing kids now. Like, what's that gonna be? Because
right,
I'm
right.
a mom and I'm sensitive to that. The reviews people were doing, and they were like, it's as tasteful as it could be. And I'm like, what does that mean? So it's not bedroom
Right.
type kill. It's not upside down saw. Okay, so
I kind of heard what. Yeah, I kind of heard about. Yeah, I kind of heard about that.
yeah, and so when we went, I was like, I don't want to be, I was like, let's be off to the side. Usually when I go to the theater, I have the best seats. I'm right there, dead smack in the middle. I was
Yeah.
like, I don't know what this is going to be. So let's just sit off to the side because I don't know if I want to be that much immersed into it.
Sure. And if you got to dip with your son, you just take him out. You be quick to that. Right. Okay. Okay.
And then it wasn't that bad. I was like, oh, Timmy had it coming. So
And yeah, you know what? It was a hard watch, but I understand. Like
yeah.
at least like I was watching an interview with Damien, and he was saying that he didn't want to. There's a line that he wouldn't cross, but he tried to do it as tasteful as he can because art is, this no borders,
He's
no.
a demon.
He's a demon,
Art's a
right?
demon. They don't discriminate against
Right,
children. They don't care. You
right,
know?
right. And he did it as tasteful as he could. We didn't see it, and then we also didn't see. We saw the explosion, but we know it was crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy. Um,
But yeah, that was insane. What would do you have a favorite kill in the movie?
outside of mine, I think, man, whew, I couldn't look at the whole shower scene, so I kind of punked out on that one.
You couldn't watch it?
Me and my lady looked at each other. We looked at each other like this. We was just like, what's happening right now? Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Santa was probably my favorite. I think Santa. He froze them up and he chipped them away, and just the lead up to it. I like that
Yeah.
whole bar scene, and just
Yeah.
just like how David, made art like a kid in a candy store seeing maybe
Yeah.
his idol like the Easter Bunny and his Santa Claus, and man, it was done beautifully, and then how they just tore him up. I thought that was pretty cool, and how real
Yeah.
all of it looks. It's just,
Yes.
gosh, the art of what they do. They're just so talented, so talented.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I like that kill. I like that kill, and probably of course, Officer Evans, and then maybe a third is probably um, the rats. Oh man, that was hard to watch.
Mm, the rats in the throat.
Oh man, man, yeah, the rats in the throat. The rats in the
That
throat.
was insane. That when I saw that part, and I'm like, once you get to the end of the film, you have been through so much and seen so much that's just like
Yeah,
how would I describe that? It's just the dread. There's a lot of dread in that scene.
yeah, yeah,
That's where the most dread is because you're anticipating what's going to happen to Sienna
yep,
and her aunt. They're tied to chairs. Something's going to happen.
yeah, yeah. And then they just
Terrible.
pop up with the brother, and it's like, oh man, what?
Yeah.
Glasses on him. I think.
Yeah.
What was I
That
gonna
was
say?
heartbreaking.
I think what helped with me, yeah, I agree with the dread, but I also think that starting the movie the way it did, although it was hard to watch, but it put me at ease. Like, oh, okay, this is what I'm. This is what we're doing. All right, I'm strapped in. Let's go, cuz. Let's go. I'm ready. I'm
That's
ready.
what you part. This is what you signed up for.
Right. I'm like, this is what I signed up for. All right, I'm ready. All right, let me just wait for my. We going right into mine. Okay.
Right,
It was
man.
right like
And
that.
my son and I, when we saw him holding your face up, your head, we were dying laughing in that theater. And I'm pretty sure we were the only
Oh.
people laughing. And I'm sure people were like, what's wrong with them? We had a strange crowd. Like usually, what I saw it on a Thursday because I have the AMC premiere thing. So I can see movies a day early.
Yeah.
So I assumed that everybody that was in there with us was gonna be like, you know,
Yeah.
but so I was like, I think we're a little deranged because we are the only ones laughing right now. Like, because I thought that scene
Uh,
that was hilarious. And then the Santa Claus scene, the carrot in the nose,
oh man. Yeah. Yeah.
that was when we had a group of women stood up and walked out. Like they were just like, absolutely not. They saw the
At that
carrot and
point,
they
you might
left.
as well just sit for the rest. At that point, if you're gonna walk
Right.
out after the very beginning.
Yeah. I'm like, you heard a child get axed, a whole family for the most part got it. And then the whole the glass scene. I'm still what she did with the glass when she was watching. I
Yes.
was I was like,
Like,
"Really?"
what's is she? She is. She is.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what was also cool? Just seeing the people that I've grown up watching, like Chris Jericho. Like I'm in a movie with
Yeah, that was cool.
I'm in a movie with the gentleman that's in Scary Movie, John Abrahams, and
Mhm.
the gentleman that played Santa, Daniel. Is it Rubik? I forget his
Yes.
last name, but I've seen him in everything from like Money Talks and The Fugitive, and I'm like these are the movies that I grew up on, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm in a movie with it, like, and of course, Chris Jericho with wrestling, and I'm like, I got a chance to speak with him at the premiere, and I'm like, dude, I grew up on you, man. It's like I'm
Yeah.
so honored to be in the movie, and the first thing he said he was like, nice head. I was like, oh, I've arrived.
Right. You're a part of something in my opinion. I think that this movie solidified Art the Clown as an icon, and I know Damien is kind of like people throw that word around, but I really do think Art the Clown deserves a space amongst the greats, the Michael Myers, Jason, Freddy, and it's rare to get that just out of three movies, but
Right.
Art put in work. He did, so
Put
I
in
think
work.
he's earned it.
And it was a short film before the three, right? All Hallows Eve.
Yeah. Oh no, All Hallows Eve is I believe that's a feature, but the the first one is The Ninth Circle.
And
I
okay.
found it on YouTube. It's in Spanish, but you could watch it, and if you don't speak Spanish or understand Spanish, you can kind of figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
And that's the first time you see Art the Clown. It's played by someone else, but definitely, I mean, it's the Ninth Circle, so it's definitely very demonic. You got all kinds of demons and devils and all kinds of stuff
Yeah.
going on there. And I
Yeah.
really loved that this movie, the woman was reading on the bus, the Ninth Circle.
Oh, was she? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. That's awesome. Yeah.
yeah.
Nice. Maybe I'll go back and check it out now that I've been kind of welcomed into the big horror space. Yeah, now I have to go back and like really put some groundwork in. So thank you to you and your
Yeah.
audience, for welcoming.
It's important. I was watching, oh, there's a YouTuber. Maybe I shouldn't call him a YouTuber. He has a podcast. Um, who was talking about Terrifier, and he was just like, the chainsaw up the ass was childish. He's like, that was a childish thing to do. But and then he said, that it was just one of those things where you know what you're going to watch this movie for. You're not really watching it for some special storyline or spiritual message. You're going for the kills, but I don't agree with that. I am going, I mean, the kills are entertaining, but
Yeah.
I think the story about Sienna in particular is actually really, inspirational if you look at the film metaphorically.
Mm,
I think we all have to face things that are scary or terrifying, and it's about, taking that chance and going for it
yeah.
and facing those things that scare you the most.
Yeah.
So, do you find any messages in this movie that speak to you a bit more other than just the kills and the gore and Art the clown?
I think the message of I like the family aspect of it. Like, regardless of what Sienna was going through and what she's been through, she still managed to. I need to check in with my brother. I need to keep that bond and that relationship going. That's my little brother. I'm going to look out for him as much as I can. you know
Mhm.
I really enjoyed that message, and Lauren's and Elliot's performances. But yeah, because my brother, he's my big little brother. Like, he's 5 years younger than me, but he's bigger than me, so it's all good. But I would do anything for my brother,
Mhm.
and I really saw that in Sienna and her relationship with her brother, uh,
Mhm.
and her just like trying to move on past like the trauma that she's been through and trying to find a new life in a sense,
Yeah.
and what she had to go through with the the baggage, especially the scene at the table where she's seeing
Yeah.
her friends and feeling some kind of guilt in that, but also just trying to reckon and build a new life with her aunt. That was
Yeah.
her aunt, right? That was her aunt. Yep.
Yes.
And Gabby's the nice little girl, right? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, that was really sad, but, for her to be resilient and still push on and make sure that my brother is good and taken care of until, unfortunately, he wasn't. Spoiler alert. Well, your audience knows that. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, yeah, I like that message of family in this movie.
Yeah. And she still maintained a sense of, although she lost her brother, she still had something to fight for, that was Gabby.
Yes, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And from what I gather, again, I didn't see the first two films.
Mhm.
But everybody universally feel like folks agree that this film, the story is a lot stronger than maybe the first one and the second one. Would you agree?
I would say it's a really good continuation of the second one.
Okay.
The first Terrifier, Art, at least based on how I'm interpreting it, he's not a demon in the first one yet.
Yeah.
He is just like this deranged weirdo serial killer that reminds me of weirdos that I have come across in the city as a woman, and that's kind of what made the first Terrifier so strange to me, is that I've had those experiences where I'm in a restaurant or I'm at the gym and there's that weirdo that nobody else seems to see, but he's stalking you, he's watching you,
Mm,
like I've had those experiences before, so that's what that movie triggered in me.
yeah.
And then for him to turn around and actually be a serial killer. And then I feel that the first is a very good intro into the supernatural component of Terrifier. I'm not sure if the ending of the first Terrifier, if that's connected to the ninth circle. So I think a lot will be revealed, in Terrifier 4. I think Damien will tie up as many potential loose ends that he wants to tie up, but when you're dealing with a supernatural or like a demon, you're not always going to have all the answers. That's the thing about spirituality, and it's the mystery of it that you just got to kind of be okay with.
Yeah.
So for me, the story flows for the most part just fine. I'm just enjoying what Damien is putting out there, because it's been a long time since I've seen uh, a horror film that has had this much of an impact. And I think a lot of the bigger studios are struggling to put out good horror, because the last film that I saw, um, that I thought was absolutely amazing, was Talk to Me.
I heard that is insane.
That is a really good one
Okay.
to watch. It's A24.
And A24, man, can do no wrong. They got so many awesome gems. I love A24. A24 if you're
They
listening, you know, A24 if you're listening. I love it. I love A24.
Yeah, I've watched a couple of their movies, and they always leave you having at least for me, they always leave me having a very strange and disturbed feeling
Mm-hmm.
after I'm done
Mm-hmm.
watching.
Mm-hmm.
So lots of magic going on
Yeah.
there.
So I got to get my horror game up, right? So if you can recommend 5 movies that were released within the last decade that I should watch, you know, because now I'm horror baby. You know,
Yeah.
what 5 movies would you recommend? You said
All right.
Talk to Me one of them?
Talk to Me
Okay.
is a good one.
Okay.
Um, Shoot, I've seen so many. I wasn't prepared for this.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Talk to Me. I would say it really depends on where you want to go with horror. Well, I did enjoy In a Violent Nature,
Okay.
um, because it was almost, well, not even almost. It was the opportunity just to follow the killer, who is also a supernatural entity.
Yeah.
And what I thought was interesting about that movie, and again, I don't know if I'm just desensitized, but most, it was their fault that they got what happened to him,
Yeah.
because they disturbed his resting place. So that's a good one. If you're, it's also that one is definitely gory. It's almost like a love letter to Jason
Okay.
in a
Okay.
violent nature. Let me see. What else did I enjoy?
I heard
Uh,
is Hereditary good?
I've seen Hereditary. That's a strange one. It's strange. That's a strange movie. Midsummer is a good one.
Okay.
Have
That's
you
a
seen
horror
that?
movie? That's with Florence Pugh, right?
Yes.
That's a horror
Mids
movie?
it is it's considered horror.
Really? Okay.
Just a second. Yeah, it's considered. Well, and you know what's hilarious about this is that it's one of those things where, yeah, it's horror mystery. Florence is amazing in that movie. She played the shit out of that Danny role. She did so good. And it's an interesting look into, um I guess, just a different culture.
Sure.
I
Okay.
don't know if it's based on any truth, but it's interesting and kind of strange, and I guess it could be considered kind of scary. So how many is that now? Does that give you three?
That's 3. I need 2 more. 2 more.
Two more. Oh man, I've just been so disappointed this year, so it's hard for me to.
Ah.
Yeah, I have. I've been disappointed this year. I want to say, but you said in the past 10 years.
It can go beyond that. Just give me 2 more.
Well, have you seen The Strangers? The original?
Is that the Yes, I've seen The Strangers. That's the one when they put the bag over their head and yeah, torment people. Yeah, I've seen the first one. Didn't the first one come out in like 2000 early 2000s? Or that was a
2008,
remake
I
of
think.
Okay, yeah.
So they did chapter 1 this year, and it really just it really felt like a remake of the first Strangers.
Okay.
So I really did enjoy the one from, I believe, came out in 2008, 2009. That one definitely very terrifying to me. Those are the kind of movies that get me. Home
Yeah.
invasion movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. And then the last one, I feel like I'm going to have to redo this list and
It's
send
all
it to you.
all good.
The last one, oh man. Have you seen I'm going to go into my YouTube real quick cuz I have so many movies in there.
Uh-huh.
I want to. Oh, you know what? Scream. Have you seen the newest Scream movie?
I haven't seen the newest one because I'm
The
a,
New York.
but are they really? Are they really? But yeah, okay, I'll watch the new Scream. Because
Yeah.
I'm 2000, well no, 90s Scream.
96.
That was 96?
Yes. I was 9 years old. My grandmother agreed to take me to watch it in the theater.
Wow. Yeah, I'm a fan of the original Scream. Surprise, Cindy.
Yes, I watched that movie so much.
But the
I have
remake is
this.
good? Well, it's not a remake. It's a
It's not a
continuation.
remake. It's a continuation. It kind of feels like an anthology because Sydney's not really in it, but she's mentioned. But she's going to be in the seventh Scream.
Yeah, I heard. Pay that
So yeah,
pay
I'm
that.
excited to see Nev Campbell as the main girl. It's been a while. We haven't seen her in that role since what 2000 Scream 4, I believe, was the last time it was all centered on her. So I want to see how that unfolds because she's married, she has children now.
Right,
Um, so I'm
right.
really interested to see how that goes. The Scream franchise is probably my all-time favorite. I am huge on the Scream movies.
Yeah. Anytime like I'm watching something and Halloween, that's why I looked at your shirt. Anytime Halloween, the original Halloween comes on,
Oh yeah.
I just sit through it and just watch it.
Yes.
I like
The,
it.
the
And
original
I don't even like
Halloween.
H2O. I like the H2O one too. I think was Buster in that? I think Buster was
Yeah.
in that, right? Yeah.
No,
No, he
that's
was in,
that was LL Cool J. Buster Rhymes is in what was it, Resurrection?
oh, he might have.
Or it's right before H2O.
See, I think he's in that. Oh, he might be in Resurrection with what's her name? I mean Tyra. Tyra's in it, right?
Yeah. Yep. It was him and Tyra doing a reality show before they were ahead of their time. It was like an internet reality show,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that didn't really exist back then.
Right. Sorry. Who am I to man, who am I? You know your stuff. It is LL Cool J. I am so sorry. Forgive me.
It's okay.
Uh, but the original Halloween, like
Hmm.
anytime I see that one, it's like from what, 78?
Yes.
78? I sit through that just like just the score and young Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie. I'm like,
Yeah.
man, this is good TV. This is good. This is
Yeah. No, that was really good. I It had been so long since I had seen the original. I just watched it maybe weeks ago.
okay.
I was it, I'm probably the biggest horror fan in my house. My husband is like, I'll be upstairs.
Yeah,
So it was probably like 10 o'clock at night, a Saturday night, and I was like, I don't really remember too much from the original Halloween. I've always watched, 3 and 4 and H2O and Resurrection. Um, and then the most recent ones that have came Halloween Ends and those ones. So I
yeah.
was like, let me go ahead and turn this on. And it's just so amazing. It takes you back in time with the style, the way that it's shot, the way that it sounds. And there's even it's the mood of it.
Yeah.
That was something special. John Carpenter made something very special back then because even with it being old, when I tell you I was spooked when it was time for me to go upstairs. I'm watching this by myself downstairs.
You gotta if you turn off the light, you better just book it.
Book it up the stairs.
You book it. You don't know what entity or somebody gonna grab you or whatever. Just book it. Just book
That's
it.
the feeling I had, and so I was a little jumpy the next morning, and my husband's like, "What's wrong with you?" I was like, "Oh, I was watching that movie last night. I'm just." He's like, "Why do you do this to yourself?"
Yeah.
I love to. I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah. 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 Uh the I guess the second one and the third one, I was just like, man, what's happening here? It's just not as good as the first one. So I always
Yeah,
kind of go back to that one and H2O. I wasn't
it's
really into Freddy. I wasn't really into Jason. Michael kind of had my heart. Um,
yeah. They were a little. Freddy's funny.
right.
He is super funny, but when I think about these movies, I was watching them as a child.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, I remember going to my aunt's house and they would go to Blockbuster and get movies. They would get at least one scary movie and a couple of funny movies. And if I'm there over the weekend, we'd watch one every night. And the scary movies, I just remember being so terrified, but I wanted to watch it,
Yeah.
and so it's embedded in my childhood. So I don't know. Did you watch scary movies as a child growing up?
No, because I was probably too scary. The ones that I could, I'll go and see a good slasher movie.
Mhm.
I know what you did last summer. I still know what you did last summer. Like Scream. Like I would go to those. Um, of course, I was, not even thought of yet when Halloween came out, but when it came on TV, I was just like, yo, this is. I can tolerate this. I can be. I like to be scared, but I don't like to be like watching Freddy, that just creeped me the hell out. But I can
Yeah.
tolerate like a good like horror and Michael Myers and just how he just book it at his own pace. It's like it's a marathon with him, man. It's like he gonna get there. He don't got to rush.
Right.
He gonna
Right.
yeah. Reminds me like life is a marathon, man. It's go at your own pace. Go
He's
at
gonna
your own
catch
pace.
you anyway.
Hey, and it's ill like how Terrifier is kind of like, although it's the third in the franchise, but it's kind of following that formula of like Halloween, being relatively low budget, and there's a fan base for it, and they're going to come out in droves to support something, something new, something
Yeah.
innovative and fresh, and kind of give the studios a run for their money. Like you can't keep rehashing these IPs and like
Yeah.
we're just sick of it. We need something fresh.
We
Um,
haven't had a new horror icon in a very long time. And I think because a lot of the bigger studios are afraid to take risks.
yeah,
And when you aren't willing to take risks, you really like it stops the creativity process. And so I hope, or I don't, I have so much confidence that Damien is going to maintain the integrity of his vision. Um, so I'm so excited to see uh, Terrifier 4. Do you plan on doing more horror movies in the future, or is that something that you would like to continue to do?
yeah, yeah. I actually did a horror movie that released in February of this year. It
Oh,
wasn't on the scale of Terrifier, but it had relatively maybe about 50 theaters across the country, 50 Regals across the country. It's called a Boo Hag. It's a Geechee Witch, a Boo Hag story.
oh, is it like with the Gullah Geechee people? Oh, yeah. Okay, I need to check that out. That's
Yeah, so
awesome.
it came out in theaters in February, and it should be releasing streaming sometime soon. So hopefully
Okay.
we'll have some information on that. But yeah, it's about a couple that kind of uproots their life from Harlem and move down to the husband's family estate in Georgia, and
Mm,
then the Gullah folklore of the Boo Hag torments not just the couple but the wife, and maybe wants the husband to herself.
okay.
Um, so yeah, that was awesome. That was a good time. But it's not on the scale of Terrifier, but it's good stuff. It's good stuff.
I'm excited to check it out. I love watching, independent films.
Yes.
Um, I did step away from it for a little bit. I went down the independent film rabbit hole. It was maybe like 10 years ago, and s- some that stuff is especially the foreign independent films. Like
Oh,
they're in a different world, and
yes. Yes.
what
Yes.
they're willing to put out there. But I would never be one to say that something shouldn't be made or put in film. I don't understand when people are outraged when there's a certain, whether we're talking about like the children in Terrifier or the way that women are killed. It's misogynistic and it's art.
It's art.
And it's no one's forcing anybody to watch it. And I don't think that it's necessarily controversial. Like we're talking about movies.
Right. Right. everything can't like everybody wants everything to be PC. It's like it's art. It's at
That's
you
boring.
buy a ticket, you go watch it. You expect this is what you're buying the ticket for. There's a fan base for it.
Yeah.
Like there's no justice in trying to like PC everything.
Yeah. I
It's like
mean, that takes the fun away. That takes
take the fun,
the
the
and then
creativity.
sometimes the creativity, it really hinders creativity from being illustrated and expressed.
Yeah.
And you never know how it's going to impact someone because it's not always going to be a negative impact. A lot of us find at least speaking for myself, find a lot of things to be inspired by.
Mm.
Uh, like I also really enjoyed Jeepers Creepers.
Okay. Jeepers
Je-
Creepers.
Jeepers Creepers and Jeepers Creepers 2. Jeepers Creepers, that movie, I remember watching that with my grandmother, and she said she said watching that, that's exactly how that would go down if we were driving in the country. It's something because the way that they shot it, it's just like it's very isolating. It definitely feels like something that happened to some people out in the countryside and nobody else knows about it. That's really how and then it at the very end they're in the police station, so it's kind of like, okay, so this is how these the lore, this is how these legends in these towns are developed, is because something happened once upon a time and then they pass that story down generation after
Mm.
generation. Oh, this is the town where this happened and this
Like,
creature. And I just remember my grandmother telling me, but just the way that she said it, she was like, yep, that's exactly how that would happen.
grandma gonna know. You know she gonna know because either she went through some things or she heard some things. She gonna know.
Yeah.
She gonna know.
Yeah. Well, because my grandmother always had a lot of stories that she would share with me too. She was born in 1931,
Mm.
and the house that she lived in, because I'm from Tucson, Arizona, there was a lot of reservation down there, so a lot of indigenous people. And her house was across a very small dirt road from an Indian burial ground, a sacred burial ground.
Yeah.
And so she would tell me about the things that she would see happening over there and certain entities that would walk into her house from
Wow.
the burial ground. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I, when she said that, I was like, you're pulling from some sort of experience.
Yep. Yep. And yeah, if you're getting that from your grandma, I think you will enjoy a Geechee Witch. I think
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. As soon as I find out like once when it's screening and get a hold of it, I will send you the information. I would love for you to check it out because it's exactly that. They're in this new town and
Yeah.
they're just trying to figure out life and now he has this big estate and he's trying to not only win over his wife after some marital issues, but now you
Hmm.
got my wife is tripping. What is she talking about? You know,
Right.
right? What is she talking about? The house is haunted. So yeah,
Yeah. That's the that's that thing that I think really is really effective in these movies, is when someone can sense something's wrong or they're fearing some real danger and nobody else sees it. That's so frustrating.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And the really cool thing about this movie, Geechee, is black leads.
Yes.
Myself, and then Trifina Wade, who plays my wife, and then we got Lance Nichols, who plays, my father, Basil Wallace, who plays, the groundskeeper. Like and then we got some, some legends, some black legends in it too. So, just kind of following in the formula of independent filmmaking, but just when you finally see the boo hag, it's like
Hmm.
it's just how creative like these folks are when it comes to prosthetics and special effects. Like
Yeah.
little CGI, little to no CGI in both movies. I mean, of course, Terrifier, a lot of practical things and little
Yeah.
CGI, but these independent filmmakers are like really, really doing it. Really,
They
really doing
are. I think that's the future. I think a lot of us are tired of the rehashing of older movies. And then it's one thing to continue to remake a movie, but then when you miss the mark, it's like
Yeah.
if you're gonna, if you're
Yeah.
gonna redo this, you better do it well
Right.
because you're just gonna piss off a lot of people like myself who have been watching these movies since, from our childhood.
Right.
So I'm definitely a huge supporter, and I love to hear that there are Black leads. What was the movie that just came out? It's a horror movie, and there's like the lady from 101 Dalmatians is in it.
Oh, Glenn Close.
Yeah.
Is it? It's not the Deliverance, is it? No, that's not
Yeah, I think it's
the
The
name
Deliverance.
with Lee Daniels.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't see that one.
That was that was a unique film. I thought it was really good up until it was revealed what was going on, and then that's where it kind of lost me. Like I watched the whole thing, but I was like, y'all was doing so good. You were building up so much tension. Oh my god. And then it just
Yeah, yeah. I did hear that Glenn Close did her thing.
oh
That's,
yes. I
yes.
was I just kept having to do a double take. I was like,
Yeah,
is that Cruella? Like
yeah.
what is going on
I
here?
heard
Like
she
I
did her
hadn't seen
thing.
her in a long time.
Okay, I want to check out her performance. I
She
want to
did
see it.
amazing.
But I heard. I mean, you can't sleep on Glenn Close. I mean,
No.
what did she do with Michael Douglas? Gosh, is it Basic Instinct? It's not Basic Instinct. It's. Oh, I'm drawing a blank. It's a classic movie. Hold on. She kills it in that when she plays the other woman. Fatal Attraction.
Fatal Attraction. Yeah. Yep.
Gosh,
She's amazing.
she
She's
is amazing.
definitely she's in a class of her own.
Yeah, yeah. Shout out to this conversation giving flowers to Glenn Close out of nowhere.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
You got to give credit where due.
absolutely.
And now I have like this new interest in maybe making my own little short film one day. That's why I've been studying Scream. I've been watching Scream like multiple times a week because I want to do maybe like a little remake of that, but with
Mhm.
Black actors and just kind of have some fun with it. Um,
Would you
not
make
like
it present day?
huh?
Would you make it present day?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. I love that movie. There's something about particularly the opening scene. I watched the opening scene a lot with Drew Barrymore. Um, that opening scene is amazing.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And then even the second one was the opening scene in the second one with Jada
Oh,
and.
that's with Jada. That one was amazing.
So I would tell, uh, any one of my buddies who were excited that I was in Terrifier, and I'm like, like they're like, "You gonna die?" And I'm like, "Look, just watch. Look, if your eyes and stomach can handle it, watch
Yeah,
the movie." But I also want to let you know, I'm in it for a good time, not a long time. But just
right.
go and enjoy yourself. Um, and they said, well, we got to start somewhere. I mean, Omar Epps was in Scream 2, and you're like, that's right, Omar Epps was
He
in Scream
was.
2. That's
Yep.
right. He was the boyfriend that got, axed in the
In the
bathroom.
bathroom, trying to listen
Like
to
that.
somebody getting it on.
It's like,
I was like, that's what you get being nosy.
right, right. Get Omar out of here. But it's like, man, okay, yeah, I like this,
Yeah.
Okay, you come in and make a splash, and
Hmm.
you build a following that way.
Yep.
Especially with horror. Now that I'm in the horror world now, I gotta step my game up. I'm gonna start with these movies that
Yeah.
you recommended, and go back to Terrifier, all the Terrifiers. I think I might watch that with my godmother now. Yeah, I think that'll be a nice bonding kind of
I think
moment.
you will really appreciate it how it's progressed because he went from what, a $35,000 budget film to a $250,000 budget film and now up to a 2 million, and you see the improvements, but you don't lose that magic with art.
Mm,
So
mm-hmm.
it's rare. I think what he has created is very rare because it's rare that you see the movie improve. And I understand that that's debatable for some people.
Yeah.
But so far, for me, it's on an incline. And so I'm really, really excited to see what happens with Terrifier 4.
Oh yeah, yeah. When Terrifier 4 comes out, I will be at the theater.
Oh,
I will
good.
be at the theater. Just to support, Damien and David and that crew. It was a lovely
Yeah.
shooting experience, and it's been an even greater like post production. Like we're getting together and to celebrate this. I had no idea it was gonna blow up the way it has, and I'm so very thankful. And I got to meet you, and I don't do this often, so this is like my first like interview about a movie. Like I'm
Oh,
just so
awesome.
excited. Yeah, thank you so very much.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me and I hope to connect with you again in the future.
All right, sounds good.
All right, take care.
All right, you take care. All right, bye
All
bye.
right, bye.